Hey guys, welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. This is Kneon, and we're going to talk about The Last Jedi director Rian Johnson, because the guy does not go away. He admits he didn't care about Star Wars canon in history. Imagine that. Imagine that. Could you have guessed? He doesn't care about canon in history. We're going to talk about the retroactive damage control that Lucasfilm and Disney is doing because The Rise of Skywalker is coming out on Blu-ray and DVD, and they want you to buy it. And they want you to buy the book. So we're going to talk about all of that. Now, this content is pre-recorded because we're going to be down in Florida for a couple of days. Hopefully, maybe we'll see what happens. So if there are any developments on this in the interim, I apologize for that, but we're going to talk about it. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We're at almost 100,000 subs. Thank you so much for the support. Here we go. This is coming from Bounding Into Comics. Star Wars The Last Jedi director Rian Johnson admits he didn't care about Star Wars canon in history. So, during Knives Out, of course, he brings up Star Wars. He always brings up Star Wars when talking about Knives Out. I don't understand why. The two movies really shouldn't have anything to do with each other. So he was asked by The Hollywood Reporter's Natalie Heltzel. Well, there we go. When you're writing, let's say you're creating your own universe, you said you don't think about actors, you're starting something from scratch. How is that approach versus something where you have a pre-existing universe? If you're writing characters for Star Wars, you have this universe, you have characters that everybody knows. And then now you're doing something from scratch. Did you find your approach is different from that? Johnson says, no, not at all, because I really don't think in terms of universes or in terms of creating worlds or whatever. That's not interesting to me. He continued, the only thing that's interesting to me is story, and the specific story to like whether you're writing Star Wars that's part of a 3-movie trilogy or a quote-unquote original thing like Knives Out, you're still telling a story. That is new to the thing that you're doing that has to work within the context of that movie. So basically, he's like, I don't really give a shit. I just want to tell the story I'm telling. Johnson adds, so to me, the notion of what's the entire galaxy or world that you're creating or something, I can't imagine getting excited about creating that. To me, what I'm excited about is creating a 2-hour-long experience for an audience to have in the theater. And that means how they engage moment to moment with the story and the characters that are on the screen. That doesn't change in either of those. Yeah, it does. When you've got a pre-existing franchise like Star Wars, there are established characters and certain expectations that are, presumably going to be met. But basically, Rian Johnson says, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care about the universe. I just want to tell my story. It was very obvious watching The Last Jedi that Rian Johnson just wanted to tell his story. And Bounding Into Comics agrees. The answer is not really shocking given the product we saw in The Last Jedi. The movie threw away and completely ignored characterizations and story moments from The Force Awakens. Yeah. So they talk about the characterization of Luke and how Luke Skywalker was basically, his character was basically assassinated. Because Rian Johnson really doesn't care about the universe, the rules of the universe, or what came before. This is why we can fly a ship into hyperspace into an enemy fleet and destroy them. This is why Yoda apparently can use Force Lightning as a ghost, because we don't care about the rules of the universe. It doesn't really matter. That's a problem. And the bigger problem is, why did Lucasfilm allow rogue film director Rian Johnson to do whatever the hell he wanted with what should have been and could have been the most important movie in the sequel trilogy? It needed to be the most important movie in the sequel trilogy. The second act is usually the most important movie because it really is the rising action, right? And he dropped the ball. And he wrapped up all the story threads in a less than satisfactory way for a lot of fans. Clearly he didn't give a shit. But at least he's admitting it now, years after The Last Jedi comes out. He just doesn't care. The sequel trilogy's over. He doesn't have to pretend anymore. He doesn't have to pretend that he likes Star Wars. He doesn't care. He does not care. Now, who does care, believe it or not, is Disney. Disney still cares. They still seem to think that they can milk some money out of this dead franchise. We did do a video a couple days ago talking about how Palpatine in the Rise of Skywalker novel is revealed to be a clone. He's revealed to be a clone. So that shouldn't surprise anyone. What was surprising was they never addressed it on screen. You had to find out in the book. Gaping plot hole. They never explain how Palpatine comes back. And the truth is he technically doesn't. This Palpatine is a fake Palpatine. But now Ian McDiarmid is coming out and talking about it. He said that it actually was in the script, they just didn't put it in. The cloning thing, yeah, well, of course, there were all sorts of explanations for why I might return, but it's interesting because at one point the script had a line in it, the first scene with Adam Driver, who when he says you're a clone, and I say in the original script, which is no longer with us, more than a clone, less than a man, which seemed to me to sum it up, really. Yeah, so, you know, major plot points left on the cutting room floor. We've got the director of The Last Jedi, who doesn't give a shit about Star Wars canon. I mean, is it really any surprise to anybody that the Star Wars sequel trilogy was a complete bust? And the damage has been done. You know, the damage has been done. There's been declining interest in Star Wars since Disney took over, seemingly with every movie. Every movie that comes out, people don't have a lot of interest in it. But at least they're being honest. You know, I don't know if these guys were gagged or what, if Rian Johnson was gagged or he was too busy trolling people on Twitter. But at least he's admitting he doesn't give a shit about Star Wars canon. But we knew it all along, right? We knew it all along. So we're going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants. And we'll talk later. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.